These are the napkin rings I want to make. I've made these before, and these are about 1.25 inches is the size of the hole inside, and each one is about 1.5 inches long. This one's a little shorter. This one's only 1.25 inches long, and all the holes were drilled 1.25 diameter. In order to turn these, I have to make a jig to hold them. So I took a 3-inch faceplate, and this is an old glue block, an old jam chuck I've used several times, and this is a piece of poplar. It's a glue up, and I'm going to go ahead and make a recess and a tenon on this one to make a holder for these guys. Okay, I'm going to go over to the lathe and we'll get started. I'm going to drill a 1.25 inch hole in the center of my jam chuck. I'm going to turn it at 500 RPMs. So I'm going to get this right out here. And I'm going to drill it about 3/4 inch deep. The bit is a 1/2 inch deep. It's a 1/2 inch thick. So that'll be my guide. So that's a 1/2 inch. And I'll go another 1/4 inch. That should be deep enough. Okay, so I'll measure to see how deep that is. And that is right at 3/4 inch. I have my piece of poplar mounted between centers, and I need to make a tenon on this side, and that tenon needs to be 3/4 inch or slightly less, plus I'm going to need about 3 inches, so that would be 1, 2, 3. We'll make it a total of 3.5, and that should work out fine. So this will actually be mounted into the jam chuck, and this part out here we can use to hold the blanks for our napkin rings. Okay. So I'm going to spin my blank between centers, and I'm going to spin it at about 850 RPMs. I have my face shield on. So this is the 3/4 mark, and this is the 3.5 inch mark. And all I'm going to do right now is take this down to about 1.25. So I've got quite a ways to go. Clean up this end a little bit. That's all I need to do with that. I'll put a little glue in there. A little bit of glue on here. This we'll tap in here. And that should be fine. We don't have to let this set very long because it's all pretty well tensioned. It's plenty tight. Seems to be right on the center. We'll measure this one, and it seems to be a little bit less than 3 inches. So that'll be fine. So our napkin rings, they only have to come on right about here. So we can get them back as far as there will be fine. And anywhere in here, I can probably take off another 1/8 of an inch or so. What I'm going to do with this is true it up. This is going to become the shoulder. This will hold the napkin ring, so it's going to be 1 1/4, and then I can just cut the rest off. And I'm just going to use my parting tool, chew it up a little bit, get the wobble out of it. This would be much deeper, so we'll just start it to there, and we said we'd cut it off there. I'm not going to cut it off completely just yet. So I'm going to set my calipers back to 1 1/4 inches. Take this back down to 1 1/4 inches. Fine. my skew and just even plane it off a little bit. My round nose, I'm going to taper this down. I want to leave just a little bit of a shoulder there. And now I can part off the rest. With the tip of my skew, I'm going to make a little indentation, and that's where my tailpiece will eventually set. So I want to cut it roughly at a 60-degree angle. I made a little sample hole, piece of 1-inch material, and it fits very tight. So that's how much I need to take off. I want things to slip on quite easily, but not excessively loose. So I'm going to take this down just a little bit with my skew, my wide skew. I'm just going to plane it off with the edge of the skew. That should fit pretty good. A little bit tight right in there. Yeah, that fits good. Yeah, that looks good. There we go. That'll fit very nice. So I'm going to drill about 2.5 inches almost to the base of that. So I must spin it at 500 RPMs, and I'll have to back it out several times till I get it finished. Okay. I removed my jig from my lathe, and I'm going to cut right down the center. into the hub. Now I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. Do it again. And make sure when you put your chuck, put it in a wood vise, not in a steel vise, because you'll chew up your faceplate. Should take care of that. So here's how the jig will work. These, if you take your blank, set it over the top, if it's not tight, it spins. By putting the tailpiece in there and tighten it, as it tightens it, the jig will tighten up around the napkin ring holder. And then you can go ahead and shape it. So let me make myself a blank and we'll get started. Alright, we'll give it a try. The blank is mahogany and it is about 1 3/4 inches. A little bit larger than I expected. And we're going to spin it and see if it doesn't fly apart on us. It's very thin on one side. And I'm spinning it at 850 RPMs. Okay, so it's still holding together. I can go ahead and adjust my tool rest a little closer. Keep on going. It feels like I still have a little low spot there. Still haven't cut deep enough into it. Still have a little bit there. So I'm going to go ahead and start sanding. Maybe I can just sand that little piece out so I don't remove any more material than I have to. I'll go ahead and sand that offline, and I'll start with 100 grit. Okay, I sanded it with 100, 150, and 220. I was going to go over it with a little bit of steel wool. See if I can get any rings out of there. Any sanding rings. And then I'm going to apply a coat of polyurethane high gloss. So I'm just applying it with the corner of a little piece of cloth here. bring out the colors in it. This is one of those little projects where you can just let the color and the grain of the wood shine through. Don't have to do any fancy carving. I'll let that soak for about an hour and give it a second coat. So here's the finished ring that I made. Then a little paper towel put in it, a little napkin. A little sawdust on there. 2 coats of oil, polyurethane. And here's some of the other ones I had made before. So these here are smooth, and this one has some nice cut rings into it. And they're all made of mahogany, so they pick up the light pretty good. You can see it change colors and brilliance. Well, if you enjoyed the video, please click on like, and don't forget to subscribe.